Hey guys, Marsing here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the STR God Vegeta with his EZA. We already looked at God Goku. God Goku, of course, is held in very high esteem because of how powerful he is in the red zone and basically any difficult content where you fight against a movie boss or pure Saiyan enemy. But if I remember the chatter from JP when the anniversary happened, people definitely not as impressed with STR God Vegeta. Although I have seen people say that he's not as bad as a lot of people think. So we're going to have a look for ourselves today. We're going to try him out on two teams. Because here we are, obviously he's full level 10 links. We're trying him out on the Gods team. Now, much like God Goku, he doesn't have their 200% leader skill because he's not on Kamehameha. But his best link partner is actually the God Goku. You can see on this rotation, he has every single link active except for Prodigies. And then we are going to try him out on the 200% team because he's on Majin Vegeta's 200% lead. Because obviously he is on Gifted Warriors and Vegeta family. The only problem with that is that team doesn't have as good link partners for him. And I guess one of his best link partners, especially because he has Over and a Flash, is probably going to be Majin Vegeta, and they only share like 4 links. So we're going to try him out on both these setups. So his super attack effect is he greatly raises attack, which is an infinite stack, does supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. And then his passive is Key 3, attack and defense 150, high chance to guard, so good old chance to guard passive. He gets an additional attack and defense 77% for 3 turns after receiving an attack, medium chance of launching an additional super, and then he has a great chance of stunning the enemy when there is a movie bosses or pure Saiyan enemy. So he could be really, really good for Super Battle Road, again stages where there are pure Saiyan and movie bosses enemies, but man, what a difference. Like, Goku gets, against the 2 specific enemy categories, nigh on, like, immortality, and this guy gets a chance to stun, which you can't even do in, like, half the content in the game, right? So, very unfortunate. And then, of course, he has a chance to guard. So, ideally, you get hit the first attack of the turn, you do guard, and then you get that extra attack and defense 77%, and then you should be able to defend pretty well. And then, of course, he is going to be able to get up to reasonably high attack stats because of his infinite attack stacking. So, let's go ahead and see how this is going to play out here. So, start of turn, he has 121k defense, which is not really a lot. He's kind of in a similar boat to God Goku. Like, if we get that 77% buff, then we're going to be looking good because he's going to be over 200k just about without support. But the problem is, God Goku has the damage reduction to back that up. Whereas if Vegeta doesn't guard, then against any enemy that isn't physical, he potentially is going to take a bit of a beatdown. So we'll grab these to get the Pycon support, and let's see what we get here on the first turn. So we did guard, and then 5.6. I mean, that is higher than any attack stat that we saw out of Goku, even on turn 1. The only problem is I feel like when they make these units that are kind of like the polar opposites of each other, God Goku tanks like an absolute unit and still puts out like 4 million. If Vegeta's not going to be as good defensively, then he should be putting out like 6, 7, 8 million, something like that, right? Because if you get a chance to, if you get the chance to guard not go off, then all he's doing for you on that turn is being a damage dealer, basically. And his damage is obviously not comparable to some of the better damage dealing units in the game. So I can see why people would be a little bit hard on him, like at least at first glance. But I mean, it's a pretty decent attack stat. And I do think one place he can be useful is obviously on JP, they just got the ESBR stage for Goku family, which means that the next one that should release will be Vegeta family. And every single fight in those 2 family stages has a pure Saiyan. Because I'm pretty sure, is it the first one has like Bardock and King Vegeta, like for the 2 different ones obviously. And then there'll be a Goku in one or both of them, and then Vegeta for the other one, I think. So, obviously, in that instance, that stun chance could come in pretty handy. But even then, you still have the possibility that his chance to guard doesn't go off, and then he takes loads of damage. So, he does at least get that buff for 3 turns, which means technically it includes this turn. So, that's 1 more turn off the total. But it means when he comes back around on the next rotation, that's going to be the 3rd turn, so he is already going to still have that 77% active, so we don't have to worry about that triggering. Which means that the first attack he takes is less likely to do a crazy amount of damage, even if he doesn't guard. But this will be an interesting test. We've got support again on this rotation, so now he starts off at 244, that's because he still has that 77%. But remember, because he doesn't raise defense on super attack or anything like that, his defense is not going to get any higher than that. So it's 244k with a 35% support unit on the rotation. So honestly, that defense is not really very good. He does really rely on the guard in order for him to be useful. Like, imagine taking him against Red Zone Broly. Like, even if he does guard, he only has 240k defense with support. So we got the guard again, which is good. I mean, obviously, you can get lucky, right? And you could get the guard every single turn that he's on rotation, because it's a 50-50 shot, right? Coin flip is 50%. So, you know, you could get lucky and get the guard every turn, and then he's going to look pretty decent defensively. But I think the key here is going to be how much is he going to tank against, like, Blue Evolution Vegeta, especially if the guard doesn't go off. If the guard doesn't go off, like, he's just going to get absolutely clapped. But God Goku's obviously going to tank this for nothing, because God Goku on the team. I mean, this is a pretty powerful combo, right? Like, you put, if you wanted to run these two together, you just put God Goku in slot 1 and then Vegeta in slot 2. And ideally, he does get the guard more often than not. But I think it's definitely a bit dangerous to run them together. So we'll get the Scouter effect here for Gogeta, so we can potentially make it. We want to make it a bit more likely that we do eat a super attack with the God Vegeta as often as possible, because obviously I do want to see his defensive capabilities. And then once we've done a little bit more on this setup, we'll jump over to the 200% team and see how well he does on there, because it's an extra 60% in total from the 2 leader skills. So that means with support, he should be getting over 300k defense. But again, even that in like some of the harder content, if he's not getting the guard go off, then that's going to be a little bit on the sketchy side. That will make a good team build for Vegeta Family ESBR though. Martian Vegeta as the lead, obviously, for the 200% leader skill. And then you're going to be looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and do this. We obviously know we're going to take the first hit, and that's going to give us that 77%. Because remember, it only lasts for 3 turns. So on this turn, it's now not active anymore. So it only has 120k defense. But hopefully the guard goes off here. Otherwise, we are going to see him take quite a lot of damage. So we'll grab those, and then we'll get all of those for you. And then let's see what our boy is doing here. Is he guarding? He's not guarding. So 55k. Then he gets the 77% buff. But what is this super attack going to do? Because this now means his defense is at around 200k. Because we've got no support on this rotation. So he takes double digits from the normal attack. But this is going to do, what, like 200k maybe? Okay, nearly 300. So yeah, that is the biggest problem. I mean, we've talked about this how many times in videos and stuff. Like, chance to guard, it ain't it. That ain't it, Chief. Like, chance to guard, nah. I mean, why did they not give him, for example, because they made Goku so good against movie bosses, why didn't they just give him, like, even if they still gave him high chance to guard, why didn't they give him guaranteed guard against Pure Saiyans or movie bosses? Because even then, God Goku would probably still be better, but that would make him much less of a liability. You could actually use him against Red Zone Broly, because you know even in the AGL phase, he's going to guard every time. Whereas, like, you could take him into Red Zone Broly and he'll get you killed. Like, that is a very dangerous prospect. So let's go ahead and we'll grab all of these. We're going to finish him off this turn, so we don't really have to worry about the super attack. So let's go ahead and do this. I probably want to switch over to the other team build in a minute, but I do want to see him take hits from Blue Evolution Vegeta. But to be perfectly honest, seeing him take that much damage from just the int God Vegeta doesn't really bode well for how well he'll perform against Blue Evolution Vegeta. If that guard doesn't go off, if he's taking 50k from type neutral, and obviously not only is Blue Evolution Vegeta type advantage, but he's also just more powerful in general, he is going to do a lot of damage. Now, we have the extra 77%, so with the Pycon buff, we are going to go up to a decent amount of defense here. Plus, we do have type advantage already, so it's not the worst. We'll grab those for you so you get your dodge at least. Give the little bit of extra support. Now, his attack stat should be looking good, but he's not guarding again. So, even with type advantage, this potentially still does damage to us here. Yeah, 78k with type advantage. Like, that's wild. It is actually crazy the level of disrespect that this guy got with his EZA in comparison to God Goku. Like, God Goku, as long as he fits on the team, like, you don't want to, you know, hamstring yourself, ruin your team building or whatever, but as long as he fits on the team, God Goku's like a must-run against Pure Saiyans or movie bosses. Like, why would you not run him there, right? He's basically invincible. But this Vegeta, like, even if he guards, I mean, like, 250k defense with support, Broly, I imagine, even with guard, Broly still kills him with his, like, AGL Broly, with his super attack. He probably still kills him, which is quite unfortunate. So, let's go ahead and, you know what, just for the fun, let's transform you. So now these two actually link up, because they have the same link set. In fact, you know what, we haven't gotten, actually, no, I'm getting carried away now. I was like, oh, let's get the Gogeta active skill in the video, but I don't want the run time of the video to be too long, and I do want to see Vegeta on the 200% team, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then just do this, and we should, well, the gods will kill him this turn in slot 1, because they're transformed now. They've got every link active by being linked up with their untransformed self, so they're just going to quite easily finish him off here. And we can see what AGL Blue Evolution Vegeta is going to do to God Vegeta. Because here we are, slot 1. We got the 35% support. Look at all those attacks. Is he supering? He's not supering this turn. So let's see what happens to God Vegeta. Fortunately, he doesn't have any sort of like orb restriction like God Goku, where we do really want to get those rainbow orbs in order to toughen him up. I should have brought a Senzu Bean, because I can't heal without also giving us extra defense, but 137k. So remember, he's got to take that first hit as well. So if he doesn't guard, especially here against an AGL enemy, that first hit is going to hurt. All right, we did guard, but we still take 12k. Now the guard is active though, so that's good. So I mean, he's taking double-digit damage from Blue Evolution Vegeta's normal attacks. But it's a shame he's not supering in slot 1 here. But yeah, I mean, it's. I just wanted to see how much damage he would do with the guard active, because I can tell you right now for free, if the guard doesn't go off, that final flash is killing this guy, like straight up. So, a little bit disappointing, but let's go ahead and briefly see what he looks like on the 200% team. There's not going to be that huge of a difference other than his overall defense, but we'll jump in and see what he looks like over there. Okay, so here we are on the 200% team. Unfortunately, not a great starting rotation, considering we want to link him up with Majin Vegeta, and we have 2 of them because they're the leaders. But of course, they both started on the same rotation on turn 2, so it is what it is. But here's God Vegeta on this turn, so he's already got higher turn 1 defense than before, which of course makes perfect sense. We do have support from the SS2 Trunks, who, remember, for non-crossover units is providing a 25% support buff. And he has 4 links active. We could put him in slot 1, but then he only gets 2. If we put you like this, we get 3. But I want you off on the other rotation to link up with GT Vegeta. So Super Saiyan 2 Trunks shouldn't get absolutely destroyed here by the base form Int Vegeta. I would be quite surprised. So let's go ahead and see what we can do on this turn. So we'll go ahead and do this. What was his turn 1 attack stat? He had got hit first, actually, so it's not really a fair comparison, because his turn 1 attack stat last time was like 5.5, I think, but he'd been hit first, so he'd gotten the 77% buff. So 3.1. Obviously, if we'd put him in slot 1, we could have seen him with that extra buff, but as I say, unfortunately, we didn't get the best starting rotation. He did guard, though. 13k from a super. I mean, considering it's the very first boss, and we did guard, I'd be kind of hoping that we would just take double digits, right, at that point. But let's go ahead and do this. Obviously, we've got a Trunks on the team, so we have the full damage reduction, passive and everything for Majin Vegeta. So this Majin Vegeta in slot 1 is just going to finish off base form Vegeta here. He's going to take double digits. We've got the 6 orbs and we have a Trunks on the team. So he's got his full damage reduction as well as the extra defensive bonus from getting those orbs. From the 3 orbs, right? So he's going to be looking pretty good. Are you going to finish him off here? I would imagine so, right? Although mine's only 55%. Yeah. unfortunately not. At 55%, I can understand why people underrate the damage that Martian Vegeta does. I say underrate, but don't like the damage that he does. Once he's like rainbowed and maxed out and everything, like his damage can be good before you get below that, you know, HP threshold where he then gets the attack buff. But all right, we're gonna have double support on this rotation. So, and he did get hit last turn, which means we do have that 77% buff active now. See, now he's at 300k, but that is with double support on the rotation. So, obviously, it's a little bit of an overpowered rotation here. Not the typical sort of rotation you'll see in some of the more difficult content. Although I say that, but Xeno Vegeta and Xeno Goku are both quite runnable in the difficult content, as long as you get their stacks early on. Things like the red zone, 6 mil, that's not bad with all the support. So, the best rotation we're going to see for him, really, is when we get Martian Vegeta and him together and then have like the Xeno Vegeta for support. So you can see with the double super, he jumps up like 500k from that first super, because he is infinitely stacking his attack, remember. But honestly, like, he doesn't seem that much more impressive in the on the 200% team, but we haven't gotten his like perfect setup yet or anything with like the actual proper rotation that we want. But I do like this this GT Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, so I do quite like this rotation. But let's go ahead and do this, and hopefully we can actually get an attack in slot 1 for God Vegeta on the next turn. We're going to have Martian Vegeta, so you probably take damage from this, right? Yeah, 85k, okay. Yeah, Tech Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta needs some time to build up, but this rotation of them two together I do quite like. Can't really use it in, like, you know, the later red zone stages. You might be able to get away with, like, using that rotation in stage, like, 1 or 2, maybe even 3, but not going to be able to use it later on. But it's a fun rotation for other, you know, content. But alright, so let's see. Of course, we're not getting hit in slot 1 first. This is my problem, and I've mentioned this before with a lot of units, like Tech Super Saiyan 3 GT Vegeta, but units that get this, like, you get a buff for 3 turns. So now here we are, that buff has run out, and he's not getting attacked in slot 1. So he can't get that buff again before he attacks, which means he's now going to do much less damage, which is very annoying. We do have a 40% support on the rotation, so obviously he is getting a little bit of an extra boost here, but yeah, 3.9. That puts him at lower than God Goku, and that was God Goku. I think God Goku with less support, I think he had the 35%, he was hitting over 4 million. So that's really disappointing if you consider that Vegeta's advantage over Goku is supposed to be that he does more damage, but only when he has that extra buff like active, which is a little bit disappointing. So we'll go ahead, we'll see one more turn with him. Hopefully we can actually get, well, we don't need an attack in slot. We do need an attack in slot 1, because he finished him off, didn't he? So he didn't get hit. So yeah, again, we're now in a situation where we're going into another rotation, and his extra bit of his passive is not active, so he's not going to be as good, which is very unfortunate. I feel like a lot of odd choices were made with this God Vegeta's EZA, and it's very disappointing, especially like I said earlier, when you think about the fact that everybody goes on about how great God Goku is, and he is for, like, you know, some of the more difficult content because of the Pure Saiyan and movie bosses enemies. But Vegeta, not only does he get a way worse, like, bonus against those enemies, because honestly, what's the point of having a chance to stun when most of the time you're fighting enemies you can't stun anyway? Alright, so with no support, he's at 137 at the start of the turn. Oof. Not particularly good. But let's see what his attack stat is here once he actually gets hit. Because now we have the buff. He is at least guarding this turn. And then 6.4. I mean, that's okay, but nothing too crazy. Let me know what you guys think of God Vegeta. I am a bit disappointed with his EZA. I can see how he could still be usable in some content. Like I say, I think Vegeta Family ESBR, he'd be pretty good, as long as the guard goes off, which is always the biggest problem with chance to guard units. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.